Losing a big sum of money is traumatic. It's trauma to your mind, to your emotions, in the same way as if you got into a car accident, in the same way as if you lost a loved one. Trauma and post traumatic stress happens anytime in life where you face a severe loss. And losing a big sum of money is a huge obstacle in life that most people will experience. Uh, Famous, smart, successful people have lost millions and billions of dollars. You can look at Elon Musk, the inventor of Tesla. He almost went bankrupt. Steve Jobs had to borrow money. Donald Trump, well documented, lost millions, 50 cents. Sylvester Stallone, the guy from Rocky, lost everything. There's different avenues in how you can lose things. Whether you take too much risk, whether you trust the wrong people and don't verify or certify yourself, you make uninformed decisions. There's a lot of ways you can lose money because when you have money, either everyone's got their hand in your pocket or you think it's easy to obtain. So sometimes in life you have to lose a large sum of money before you respect it. But the first step, okay, on what now? What do you do next when you're faced with this traumatic thing? Is you have to learn to accept. It's like the stages of grief. You're in denial, then you're angry. And you have to just accept it. You can't live in the past, okay? And you have to remember it's just digits, it's just dollars, it's just gold, whatever it is, okay? It's gone. It's a symbol of currency that gives you something, and mainly what money gives you is peace of mind, security, and the ability to do things. So in our mind, though, most of the time, your money will not be used. The large sums of money will sit in your 401k. They will sit in your savings, in your brokerage account. And yes, there's a thrill to watch it go up. Yes, it's traumatic to watch it go down. But for most people, during most of their life, all it is digits on a screen. Okay. So accept the fact that those digits are gone. Okay. And don't think that you are stupid, ignorant, or a fool, because again, I can name a list of celebrities, a list of famous, wealthy businessmen and women that have lost large sums of money. Okay. You can't live in the past. You got to let go. Not easy. Then you have to evaluate what went wrong, because there's no sense of starting to rebuild until you kind of accept it and then evaluate. Did you take too much risk? Did you get involved with the wrong people? Did you go all in on something that maybe you shouldn't have gone all in on? Okay, maybe you should have went incrementally in. Bottom line is, really look at what went wrong, okay? And don't start to even do anything else until you kind of really understood what happened. Number 3 is, look, during the course of this whole entire assessment process, because when you go through trauma, guys, it's like going through a bombing, okay? It's like, guys, the job of the army after attack is to assess, not to re-engage, okay? After you get attacked, it's to reassess to see what you have left, okay? Not just financially, but, or how many people are hurt. Are you psychologically, are you ready to get back into the fight? Okay. And it takes time to heal. Okay. And the basic principles of money are this: produce an income, have your expenses lower than your income, save some of the surplus, pay off your debt, and then invest the rest. So if you're stuck because maybe you took too much risk, you started a business, maybe you tried to invest too crazy, whatever. Everyone's been through it. Assess, evaluate, take accountability, and then remember the basic foundation principles of money, which is produce an income. Whether you're going to work at Planet Fitness, or whether you're going to work as a maintenance tech, or whether you're going to work as a nurse, whether you're going to clean houses, or whether you're going to DoorDash. Produce an income. If you don't produce an income, what you're doing is more trauma. Okay. And producing an income always comes down to showing up. Okay. Not getting another degree. Show up. Then next is you got to look at your budget. That's what you do now. Look at your budget. How much are your expenses each month? $2,000 a month? $3,000? How much is your income? Do you have a surplus? If you have a surplus, you got to build your savings back up. Your savings account. You go to Wells Fargo, you go to Bank of America, you go to Chase, and you have two accounts. Always have two accounts with two separate account numbers. A checking account and a savings account. You say, Inspirational Nomad, they're going to charge me $1 a month unless I have $1,000 in that savings account. I don't care. Let them charge $1 a month. Okay. You know what you do with $1 a month, guys? You go to the Dollar Tree and you buy bullshit. Okay. So let me tell you something. If $1 a month or whatever you're going to take, if you don't have the minimum in there, let them take it. Because you need to understand the principle of separating savings from investing, separating savings from your checking account. Your checking account is only to pay bills. Your savings is for an emergency and to keep a buffer if you lose your job or if you get hurt. Your investments are a level of risk that you take, and even if you lose everything in your brokerage or investment account, you're willing to do it. And paying off debt is part of your budget. You got to budget it in. Separation of risk. Okay. Because when you have everything lumped in one, there's no focus. There's no clarity, okay, to your risk management and what could go wrong, okay? Because if something went wrong and you lost $200,000, I remember I worked with a guy, and at the time he had told me he was almost at retirement day, lost $250,000 in the stock, trading. He was trading. And at that time, I was younger. I said, wow, that's a lot of money, $250,000. I mean, now as a 40-year-old, I could see how you would take your retirement fund or whatever, even though it's still a large sum of money most people never have. But I understand now. Okay. And again, you can look at the Shark Tank. You can look at Mark Cuban. You can look at so many people that have lost money. Yes, they've made money, but they've also lost a lot. So again, don't beat yourself up. But also don't go back in trying to double your money. Go back to the basics. Go back to the basics. That's what you do next. Go back to the basics of finance, which is produce an income. Don't be scared to work, because showing up is the hardest thing. Okay. Get a separate savings account. Get a budget. Know your surplus at the end of the month. Slowly pay down your debt. And then when you re-engage in the fight to try to make interest on your money or try to make investments or try to start a business, you will be a little bit more, not just cautious, but wiser, more experienced, more of a better risk manager, and a better appreciation of money. And don't let the digits in the screen steal your life. Don't live in the past, let go. Don't live in trauma, don't live in post-traumatic stress. Whether you lost $200,000, $20,000, or $2 million. Okay. Whether you had a drug problem, a gambling problem, a bad investor, or you just had to learn through some mistakes. You gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. Can't live in the past. Coconut dreams. Are there a lot of people around in Florida? Not yet, probably not until Thanksgiving or Christmas. That's the height of snowbird season. I would say from January to March is the height of snowbird season. They start really coming in Thanksgiving to Christmas. They start, but January full blown. So we won't have the Canadians coming down this summer unless something changes, and we won't have the Europeans. So it'll still be a lighter than normal winter in Florida due to the coronavirus that's still rampant. So, that's what it is. Did I come a little bit too early? Yeah, I mean, I guess I could have waited a couple more weeks, but for me personally, there was some things I wanted to get done, and I keep my flexibility. Look, if I want to go back to visit my mom for the holidays, I'll do it. I'll keep that in my back pocket, but I know what the cold weather feels like. And I video conference my mother every day. Why? Because again, if I need to go up there, I will. But through my experience, and this is where whether you're losing money or losing your life, is guys, you realize that you have to play out the scenario. And I know if I go back to see my mom, it'll be a blessing to see her. But after a couple of days, I'll have um, not an anxiety, but an extra, and not a resentment per se, not at this point, but an extra energy that's not being used because I'm not living my life. So it's good to go see. I may go see my mom. We'll see, but um, look, there's no perfect life. Okay, and as you get older in life, whether you lose money, whether you lose friends, you lose your pets, you lose subscribers, you lose whatever. It's part of life is loss. It sucks. I don't know why. I've gone down the journey of questioning God about it, of questioning life, but don't go too far down that road. As the scriptures say, the studying of books too much can be exhausting. So there's a saying that's ignorance is bliss. Some stuff just let go. Learn the lesson, but let go. Go back to the basics. Go back to the basics of finance. Go back to the basics of faith. Go back to the basics of your life. Coconut's still beautiful in NY. Today was the last hot day, almost 70 degrees. As this weekend hits, you guys will start to go into the 50s, but that's still decent. If you can stay above 50 degrees Fahrenheit, that's a win. So you guys are doing good, and I'm happy for you. So I hope you have a great, my mom said the same thing. So we'll see how it goes. Coconuts, are you going to take the vaccine? I'll evaluate. I probably wouldn't be the first one. I don't know if I already got the coronavirus. I know I got sick earlier this year when I was in Florida in March when it hit. And I was doing live feeds when I went back up to New Jersey. And I don't know. First, I'd probably get tested to see if I had the antibodies. Then I would probably see. But I probably wouldn't be the first to get it. I won't spend energy thinking about that now. Why? Because look, good question though, even as they create the vaccine, it's going to go to first responders first, and then the very elderly and like nursing homes, because they're the high risk population. Because again, this virus is very contagious. It's real. It's not a hoax. Herman Cain has died. Donald Trump went to the hospital. It's a real thing, guys. But the death rate is still relatively low. However, you could be high risk, and however, any of us can die from it. So there's two things that are going to happen. There's going to be a level of herd immunity, because as more cases get it, that means once those people heal, from what we know now, this may change. They're immune at least for several months, but I think from what I hear, for a long time. So you're going to have herd immunity, and you're going to have a vaccine probably later next year. So those two dynamics will probably keep the virus from mass spread, but we'll have to see how it plays out. I'll evaluate as I go. Right now, I don't even waste energy on thinking if I'll get the vaccine. Why? Because it's not available. It's not an option. And so why waste energy on it right now? But it's a good question. Coconuts, vaccine sounds like it will be much safer than thought. Yeah, well, look, it'd be like any vaccine, right? Like I got a vaccine. I had to go to public schools. I don't know what it was for, measles or polio. I don't remember. But I had to get vaccines to go to public school, just like anyone else in America. So vaccines are nothing new. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I respect, though, that, look, you need to research it. Look, they have pros and cons. I mean, what a vaccine is part of the virus getting injected into your body, a very small dose, so that your body can build up antibodies, okay? So it's like all you're basically doing is injecting the coronavirus in you with some other cocktail to kind of like jumpstart your immune system to fight off this virus, so that when you're faced with it, that your body has natural antibodies to fight it. So remember, your immune system is the ultimate vaccine. But remember, just like I have people in my family, there's people with weakened immune systems. Some people have kidney transplants. Some people have one lung. So some people are very elderly. So, it's like risk management financially is the same thing with your health, right? So look, if you have one lung and one leg, do I recommend you go hiking up a high mountain? No. Why? Because it's too much risk. If you have a bunch of debt, you're living paycheck to paycheck, and you have $1,000 in savings, do I recommend that you day trade? No. Do I recommend you do the Robinhood app? No. Why? Too much risk. Okay. So you have to manage your risk. If you lose $200 or $2 million, you're going to realize it came down to you were taking too much risk. And how do you mitigate your risk? By building up some stability. What stability? Well, financially speaking, it's producing an income, it's having a savings account, years worth of expenses, it's paying down debt, and then investing in only what you can afford to lose. And then over time, you'll progressively get better, hopefully. So What we learn in life is if we do those things, we're never destitute. Why? Because we're always producing an income. Okay, we're not depending on an investment never depend on an investment unless you have 3 years of positive tax returns on stability in your dividends, in your trading, in your business, whatever. Okay. And if you don't do that, you take a higher risk. Never forget it. Coconuts. What is your biggest expense being in Florida? My biggest expense, period, is food. As a nomad, food and gas. 2 F's. Food and gas. As a nomad, there's 2 of the biggest expenses, food and gas. So outside of that, that's pretty much it. And the costs are higher in Florida. Why? Because I drive more than I did when I was in New Jersey. I zip up and down different areas I like. And, I'm eating out. I'm not eating with my mom at all. So my food costs are a little bit higher. But I did this last year. I did this for the past several years, so I kind of understand what it is. But if you ask me, as a nomad and as most people, the number one expense in most people's life is food. Okay, food. People don't want to look at that, but it's true. Whether you spend $10 at lunch, another $10 at night, or whether you spend $20 at lunch, $20 a night. Guys, if you spend $30 a day, 30 times 30, that's $900 a month. Okay, so, if you go shopping at Costco or BJ's once a week and you spend $200 a week, guys, that's $800 a month. So, and that doesn't include the paper towels. It doesn't include the electrical bill to cook your stuff. It doesn't include the oils, the seasoning, the paper plates, the washing of your dishes, the dish detergent. So food and fuel is your biggest expense as a nomad. As a homeowner, your biggest expense is your rent or your mortgage first. And that's what it is. So your biggest expense in your lifetime will be having a child. If you have a child, you can live in your car, but you're still going to be basically destitute if you don't have a certain amount of income. Why? Having a child is a very expensive thing. So is having a pet. Never underestimate that. Gail, hey, Gail. Gail, you did the right thing by staying up north a little bit longer because you're getting blessed with good weather, which you deserve it. And Florida will get great weather next week. Now we're going to start to, this last little storm's passing through. Saturday, Sunday is going to be gorgeous. Next week, we're into the low 70s. Not low 70s, mid 70s in South Florida. Humidity will break. It'll be gorgeous. So, looks like mid-November is a great time to go. Gail, I'm bummed out. What happened? It looks like I can't leave for 2 weeks. That's okay. You're in no rush. Gail, you still have great camping weather up north. One is if you want to answer why can't you leave? But even if you just decided you didn't want to leave, number one is remember, guys and girls, it's your life. If you want to live in your car and live in one state and in one town, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So, and I'm saying that seriously, I'm not joking. 2 is, because the whole point of being a nomad for me, everyone's different, is to live life basically on my terms, okay? I have my own goals that are probably different than Gail's, but it all comes down to, look, guys, I just want to be on the hook to people less and live on my terms. So I want to say that, number one, you don't owe anyone anything, Gail. You want to stay in Boston the rest of your life and never travel? You don't have to justify yourself, number one. Number 2 is, you'd be fine to wait all the way into December until you want to migrate south. Why? Because you're not going to really feel the sting of the cold weather till mid-December or so. You're going to get a couple cold days, but once January comes, that's when cold winter comes. And that, let me tell you something. If you're on the fence on if you want to come to Florida, you can make it to Thanksgiving. You can make it to Christmas. When February comes, that's when you say, what the fuck was that thing? Get me down to Florida. But don't forget, I spent 2 winters living in my car in New Jersey. It can be done. And it's actually very comfortable right now to be up north and to be camping. I'm actually suffering more with extreme temperature than you guys. So anyone living in their vehicle up north, you guys have great camping weather, the best sleeping conditions. You may not have it as sunny as you like, even though you had some great weather today. So just remember, as a nomad, it's all about living life on your terms. And even if you lost $200K, if you're door dashing, if you have a savings account, you're wealthy. Why? Forget about what you lost. Focus on the future. Learn the lesson. Focus on the future. Okay? And remember, these are just digits. We're talking about your life. And we're talking about, you got an income stream, you got a savings, keep your health, and that's it. Let go of the pain. Yeah, trauma's an interesting thing, emotional trauma and mental trauma. It's very hard to let go. Gail, I don't want to stay here. There is a curfew here. Camping ended. Yeah, well, then do what you need to do for your 2 weeks. I'm not sure why you need to do it. Florida is pretty much open. There's people eating in Starbucks right now with no mask on. In the gym, when they're working out, no mask. Showers are open at all of them. Campgrounds are open. Public parks are open. So I recommend, you can go to a rest stop, truck stop at night in Florida. You can go to a public park during the day. You can hook up your electronics. You can go to Planet Fitness, take a shower. You can go to Starbucks, get your coffee. You're good here now, but don't forget, look, the virus is a little bit more spread in Florida than other states because of that. I got to be honest. So you are a little bit at higher risk because of your age, but if you social distance, the biggest risk a nomad takes right now is the gyms. Okay, that's the biggest risk. But in my opinion, working out, okay, it builds your immune system. A vaccine gives you the coronavirus. Drinking alcohol and eating unhealthy food and locking yourself in the house and not going to the gym, in my opinion, is almost just as worse. So it's all about risk management. You say, is it better to go to the gym, wear a mask, and be consistent and healthy? Or is it better to stay home, eat the Giorno pizza, never leave my house? Your mental health is suffering, your emotional health, and you're destroying yourself. And the harder it's like the workforce. The longer you wait to work, the harder it is to get back in the workforce because it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You don't feel good about yourself. The person interviewing is looking at you like what you've been doing for the past 2 years. But guys, you can go DoorDash tomorrow. No one's looking at your resume. You can go to Walmart. You can pass a drug test. No one really cares if you haven't been working for the past 2 years. There's plenty of jobs you can just start, produce the income, and work out. Guys, great weather right now to go for a walk, and a lot of people aren't walking. Why? It's mental. It's mental. But what I could tell you is this. The biggest risk for a nomad is being in the gym. But again, I think working out is good, and I think hygiene is good. I take a shower every day now. Why? Because I have to, because it's too hot not to. And I've learned through living in my car, take a shower every day. In the beginning, I didn't do that, but too much bacteria builds up on your sheets and stuff. Take a shower every day. So that's what it is. Cameron, who lost money? Well, I lost money in my life. I had a friend that lost $250,000. Most people lost money. I guarantee everyone in this live feed lost at least 10,000. If you're over 40 years old, I guarantee you, they won't say it because it's very traumatic. I guarantee you most people probably lost at least 10,000. Steve Jobs lost that way more than that. So did Elon Musk. So did Donald Trump. So did 50 cents. So if they all lost it, I can guarantee everyone in the live feed lost it. So one is, it's okay to lose money. Two is, okay, go back to the basics. What are the basics? The basics are get an income, get a savings account, pay off your debt, then learn the lesson and don't keep going back to the same thing until you kind of have balanced your financial well-being, just like a balanced diet, and you lower the risk and you learn to control yourself a little bit. And sometimes in life that takes a couple times to engage, step back, engage, and step back. All the while producing an income, all the while managing your budget, all the while even doing side hustles. Okay, so life is incremental steps through failure. Persistence beats resistance. It's also assessing the damage. It's also trying to learn from past mistakes, even though we make the same mistake several times. And there's no shame in that. There's no guilt. But there is post-traumatic stress, PTSD. Why? Because losing large sums of money is the same thing as losing your loved one. It's the same thing, and some people won't say it, but it's true. It's the same thing as having a traumatic experience in your life because you feel like you've let yourself down, you let others down. Now, what do you do next? Now, again, if you got a gambling problem, if you got this, you got to address it, but while you address it, you got to produce an income and go back to the basics. Savings, budget, pay down debt. Okay. Why? Because even if you never figure out your problem, if you're producing an income, if you got a savings and you've paid off your debt, guys, then, all you got is, whatever it is. So I want to give you some basic, and I'm giving myself this too, it's my own life lessons, because I've lost money, okay? Large sums, yeah, it's all part of life. But I've persevered through it. So what I could tell you is this. You persevere through life, and you learn to deal with trauma because you have no choice. There's no way you get through life without trauma. Emotional, physical, mental, etc. Why? I don't know. I didn't create the world. So I know a lot of people always want to come to me as a guru, which I appreciate the sentiment. And like they're asking me questions I can't answer. No one can answer certain questions. Why is the world a certain way? I don't know. Okay. All I'm trying to do is figure out the best healthy way to deal with it and move forward. Okay. And while you figure it out, keep moving. Because if you think whether you lost a large sum of money or whether you're dealing with whatever you're dealing with in life, if you think just sitting there and moping is making it better, that's more self-induced stress. Okay. So put that energy of stress into working out, into working, into whatever. It's going to be a lot of pain. But I don't know why there's certain pain that we have to go through. I wish it wasn't so. If it was me, guys, everyone would be good financially, physically, mentally. There'd be no pain. Why? Because I don't, really desire to have pain or give pain. But that's not the way the world is. So what do? We focus on what we can control. What's the prayer of sanity? Focus on what you can control, not what you can't control. You can't control the past. Okay. Can't control it. You gotta let go. All right, let's take a hydration break. Show some love to Gail. Gail, you take your time. You take your time. Remember, too, guys, in investments, take your time. I remember hearing one time a famous investor saying, look, most professional investors, they have so many different, whether it's software systems, algorithms, they have so many different things at their disposal that you don't, information. The only thing the small investor has in favor of the big investor is they don't have to swing at the pitch every time. Big investors have to disclose their returns on investments at least every quarter. Small investors, guys, if there's no opportunity, don't swing. Okay? You don't get any strikes called on you. So it takes a while to learn that, but sometimes the best opportunity is not to take the opportunity. When I was an electrical contractor, sometimes the best job was not to take a job because it was too risky. So you will find the same thing in finance. When the opportunity is not right, there's too much risk and not enough reward, don't swing. Don't swing. Take a seat or take a walk. Why? Because what are you rushing for? You know what I mean? And if you're rushing, you're not focusing on the basics. And if you're not focusing on the basics, you're putting all your chips on your investments and you're eventually going to blow an eye socket. Why? Because that's too much risk and not enough stability. Look, guys, I'm an extreme person. Okay, I live in my car, I live an extreme life, and I'm not against extreme stuff. Because sometimes you got to get extreme to get shit done the way you want to do it for your life. But I have learned through failure, through loss, that I have to add stability through a healthy routine, okay, through the things I'm telling you tonight, through slowing down, slow down, okay, and through not swinging at every pitch. Why? Because what the fuck am I rushing for, okay? Enjoy each day, okay? Because bottom line is you want to build sustainability. Sustainability, not spike crash. Not spike crash. Never forget it. Coconuts. Is everyone wearing masks there or not really? In shared places? Not really. I mean, people are wearing them though. I see older people wearing them when they're walking outside. Most people, including me, I'm not wearing my mask when I'm walking outside in a public area that I'm distanced. Obviously, you have to wear a mask. They're mandated when you go in the store. But I saw tonight, look, there's like 3 people in Starbucks. None of them are wearing masks. Now, technically, you don't have to wear a mask in a restaurant when you're eating. And in Florida, all the restaurants are still open, pretty much full blown. I know in New Jersey, I think they're shutting them back down, not in Florida. And even when people right now, they're not eating in the restaurant, but they don't have their mask on. In the gym, people are wearing masks, but as soon as they start working out or they're on the treadmill, they're not wearing a mask. In New Jersey, there was more of a mask wearing. It's true. But there are people wearing them, but I'm not going to lie. It's a little bit more. Look, Florida is a free state. It was like that even before the coronavirus. I noticed that. I grew up in New Jersey. I know you're from New York. I spent time in Manhattan. And what I could tell you is this. Even before the coronavirus, Florida is a unique state. Now, it's not a southern state where it's just like straight backwards country, whatever, okay? But it's a mix. It's a purple state. It's got northerners. It's got people from overseas. It's got people from other states. It's got some homegrown country boys. It's got a great mix. So within that mix is a level of diversity and freedom. Now again, it depends where you go. There's country parts, and I'm talking about coastal areas where most of the population is. Because inland's basically destitute country land, farmland, agriculture. So Florida's a free, you say conservative, but in one sense liberal as far as like people are very like loose on how they live. But people overall are respectful. And I don't see people like kneeling over and dying. Statistically, if you look at the science, look, the rates are, Florida has some of the highest rates and highest deaths in the country, statistically. So it's a balance. So I'm not going to try to oversell you or undersell you. I'm here. I'm a middle-aged man. My biggest risk is going to the gym. But I think better to work out than not, and better to take a shower than not. So I don't have a house. I don't really want a house, to be honest with you. I'm not going to buy a house so I can take a shower in my house. I'm not. Now, if I was older, would I think differently? I'd probably have an RV, a fully self-contained one, okay? But look, if you don't have that choice or whatever, look, every day we're dying, okay? I don't know if anyone broke the news to you guys, but you already have a virus called humanity. And humanity is that every 78 years is the average life expectancy of a human. Alex Trebek died last week, 80 years old. So he was just about the average life expectancy, okay? And he was in shape, got cancer. In shape, good-looking guy, probably more in shape than most of you psychopaths. He was rich, he had health care, but his age, okay? So there's 3 metrics of life, guys. Age is a huge metric. Like when I did construction and when I did on-site maintenance, when we had to decide if we were going to replace equipment, one of the metrics you look at is the age of the equipment. Okay, if the batteries are 8 years old, guys, we're not going to, we're going to replace it. If the machine is 20 years old, you're going to have to replace it. If it's 10 years old, then maybe not. But guys, if a person's 80 years old, they're at life expectancy. Okay, I didn't create the world. Don't get mad at me, guys. This is the way life is. Okay, so there's your age. Then there's your health. Again, do you have an underlying disease? Are you obese? Do you have diabetes? Do you have one lung? Do you have whatever? Okay. And then there's freak. Anything can happen to even the healthiest, most robust person. There's a part of life that no one can control. And all throughout your journey, whatever you're at, is you're just trying to manage your risk. But you have to live your life. Why? Because you're never going to get this time back. Guys, I do live feeds every night. And what I can tell you is I'm getting older before your eyes. Look at the beginning of my live feeds. Even though some people say I'm looking better as I get older, I say I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, I still got it. Let's take hydration break. It's a disaster. How's the video coming in, guys? Clear? Can you hear the audio good? Coconuts? Camera on you out there? Sometimes it depends. If I go to a different spot to do my live feed, I wonder if the video is clear audio. Guys, let me know in the comment section. But what I tell you is this, guys. We have to keep living our life. Be cautious, but you have to be conscious. Okay. Why? Because life will just pass you by. It's true. It's true. And you got to balance your times with your loved ones. You also got to balance your time with doing the things you love. Because I'll tell you right now, the most resentful, unhappy people? The people who spend all their time with their loved ones and they hate them. They want to kill them. And the time they do spend with them is not good time. It's not quality time. It's coronavirus killer time. There's some people that are going to kill their own relative just because they're fed up with them. Why? Because they wish they were doing something else. You got to balance your time, guys. Look, life is sad. I wish our loved ones never died. But again, guys, that's not life. So, you can't just stay next to your loved one your entire life. You got to go do stuff. Okay. Some people like to use the excuse that I don't want to do stuff because I'm overlooking my relative. But really, they're not overlooking their relative. They're basically just, just living rent-free. Okay. So, it's, we got to be honest with ourselves. But what I can tell you is this, guys. If you lost 200 grand, should you move back in with your parents? Well, look, that's up to you. Everyone's got to do what they got to do. But what I tell you is this is no matter what, you got to go back to you got to produce an income. You can live with your parents, but if you don't produce an income, you're not going to keep moving forward. Gail says my video is nice and clear. Thank you, Gail. I ordered a new replacement battery for my Goal Zero Yeti. It's about 2.5 years old, and my Goal Zero Yeti Model 150, the battery died. So I bought a replacement one on Amazon for $40. But I've been doing okay with just going to the public parks, using the free electrical outlets there. And it's been a beautiful day to sit under like a canopy and charge my electronics, do work. And I've been very grateful for that. I love Florida, guys. It's true. I miss my mom, love Florida. So I try to balance those out. I spent I don't know what it was, 6-7 months straight in New Jersey. Spent a lot of quality time. And what I can tell you is, guys, got to balance your life, okay? Because life is sad. I don't know why it is. Every day I still get sad. There's moments of sadness. There's moments of joy. You say inspirational nomad. I wish I was happy all the time. Well, guys, what do you want me to do? I feel the same way. But I'm just trying to do the best I can. Keep showing up. Keep showing up. You can't save everyone. I was talking to my mom today, and that's what we were talking about. You can't save everyone. All you can do is the best you can, do what you got to do for you. Why? Because, look, as adults, everyone's got to make their own decisions. Okay? And you can never get around that. You can come up with a lot of different theories. You can come up with a lot of different schemes. But at the end of the day, everyone's got to do their own thing. Gail, how many watts is your Goal Zero Yeti? It's a good question. I don't know the answer. I have to Google it. But only thing I use my Goal Zero Yeti for is to charge my laptop, my phone, and mainly my fan at night. Because I can charge my laptop and phone at the public park and while I drive using my little cigarette lighter thing, charger. But the main thing I use my Goal Zero Yeti for is the fan at night, because my fan also operates off batteries, but if I use the D batteries, it takes 6 D batteries. I go through, especially in Florida, I'll go through a set of batteries like every 2 weeks. And that's like $40 a month in batteries, because 6 D batteries, like $15 thing. So it's like, it doesn't make sense to do that every 2 weeks. Might as well just get the Goal Zero replacement battery, and it pays for itself in 1 month. But what I'll tell all my nomads out there, and I'll repeat it, don't get seduced into buying all this camping paraphernalia. I've lived in my car for 4 years. The only thing I've bought is the Goal Zero Yeti. And it took me about a year or so to buy that. Why? Because I was like, I don't want any of that stuff. A sleeping bag if you're going to be up north in the winter. A thermal one rated at about 20 degrees or lower Fahrenheit. And the Goal Zero Yeti, some type of portable charger. Outside of that, I'm not saying you can't get more, but outside of that, most stuff is not practical. Because you got all the resources, whether it's at a public park, whether it's at the gym, whether it's wherever, that you really don't need anything else. Because you're not going to be able to run air conditioning in your car or van unless you're plugged into a campsite. So it's just, there's not much else you can charge other than your laptop, phone, and fan. Laptop, phone, and fan, that's what you need power for. You say, inspirational nomad, I want to put solar on my roof. I want to stand in the middle of the ocean and just stand with a solar panel tattooed on my head. Guys, you don't need solar panels. Why? The only thing you're charging is your laptop, your phone, and your fan. Okay? Because you can't run air conditioning off solar. Nomadic Fanatic spent about $15,000 in solar. And you know what he did? Nothing. He still went to campgrounds, and he still ended up back buying a house, and now he's at his house with a broken RV. Guys, don't waste money on solar unless it already comes with your RV. Or you're going to buy some very cheap one. Why? Because it's a sales pitch, not a practical use as a nomad. Someone got pulled over. Coconuts. The best lessons in life are taught through loss. 100 emoji. Painful. Loss of loved ones will tell you about the valuing of time, and you'll have some guilt. And also patience. Patience. And the loss of money will show you that, look, don't be arrogant. Don't be arrogant. Don't take too much risk. Mitigate your risk through producing of income, steady source, DoorDash, Walmart, or corporate job, and savings account separate from your checking, and pay off your debt. Because the worst case scenario, okay, if you lose everything in your investments, $200,000, $20,000, $2,000, doesn't matter the number, whatever you lose, it won't be that traumatic if you still have an income, if you still have a savings account, and if you have no debt. Remember that. That is a powerful lesson to save your life. it'll save the stress levels. And that's what I want to share tonight. A very important lesson. Love you, Coconuts. Love you, Gail. Love you, Cameron. Thank you to all my members. Gratitude. Don't take you for granted. Yeah, overall, I feel good, but I do still have moments of sadness. But I always look at my alternatives. What's going to make me happy? Guys, it's not much else I really want to do in life other than what I'm doing. I'm trying to, continue to work on my goals, but my mom needs to be in New Jersey for her own personal reasons. And I see her every day on the internet. Other than that, I don't want to be married. Don't want a house. I looked at a couple RV lots today that were flooded out. Never buy property until you visit it in the summer and in hurricane season. Why? Because some areas that you'll see in January, February, and March in the beautiful part of the year, they're going to have no water. And you don't know what parts have major flood issues. Now, again, that's why I want to buy an RV lot. Or if I don't even say I want to buy. If I do buy something, it's going to be an RV lot. Because if it floods, ain't shit going to get damaged. Why? There ain't nothing there but concrete. So what I could tell you guys, be very careful. Because there's some areas that, until you see in hurricane season, in the wet season, which is like, from June to November, there's some areas that flood big time. We're at sea level. Would I rather buy a house in New Jersey because it doesn't flood? No. What would I rather do? Be a nomad or buy an RV lot, or just be a nomad in a fully self-contained RV? Why don't you buy an RV now? Because I want to keep my flexibility to DoorDash. And when I saw Lyft, the rideshare company, they're looking to get into food delivery. Why? Because rideshare is still not that profitable, especially still with the coronavirus out there. So food delivery is still popping. So what I could tell you is this. The number one thing of money is freedom. So what am I trying to do? Guys, I'm always trying to think about what decision gives me the most options. Why? Because options is freedom. Even if I don't use them. Even if I don't DoorDash. Even if I don't travel to different parts. For me, I've done what I needed to do to get a baseline in my life on where I want to position myself. So for me, it's just now banging out consistency. Okay. And progressively moving closer to my goals, incrementally adding some comfort as I get older, but not sacrificing the flexibility until I reach certain metrics. Why? I'm managing my risk. Managing my risk, that's all I'm doing. While still living my life. I'm not bundled up in the middle of a corner not living my life. However, I'm cautious. I'm still humble enough to know that the more time on the road, the more potential for accident. The more time in public, the more potential for the coronavirus or whatever. So I am cautious. I'm not being arrogant in my movings. I'm following the certain guidelines, but a level of life is risk. There's no way you get to your destiny without risk. There's no way. It's impossible. If you play it safe all the time, you're never going to fulfill your destiny. So I do say that, look, if you take too much risk, you're going to destroy your finances, and I don't want to say destroy your destiny, but you're going to take steps backwards. But hopefully, through those painful experiences, you regroup, you reassess, and you, at some point, re-engage with a different game plan. Why? Because I'm telling you right now, you're not going to feel alive unless you take some calculated, wise risk. You got to have stability. You got to have balance. And there's sometimes where you got to take no risk because you got to regroup. But, I mean, life itself is risky. So to not take any risk is to basically say, I'm not going to live. So it's a hard thing to say. But when you go through loss, it's not time to take risk. It's time to regroup. Okay. There's a season for everything. And when you just got beat up, it's not time to fight again. It's time to heal. Okay. And when you've healed and you've retrained, then you can re-engage slowly, start sparring. Okay. And then, look, it's, life is a dookie emoji. Okay. Life is a black eye, pink eye. Life is whatever. You just try to do the best you can. So hopefully my thoughts help you. Now, all these videos, and I'm helping myself as well. All these videos have a focus while having the freedom of the live chats and some various other topics that we talk about. But the focus tonight is loss specifically around large sums of money, is traumatic. And like any trauma, you must heal from it, but you must also regroup and re-engage. All successful people, Elon Musk, Steve Jobs, Donald Trump, 50 Cent, all have gone through severe. Sylvester Stallone lost a lot of money. They regrouped and they got back in the game. Zero Rush. Hey, Zero Rush. Zero Rush. You're clearly an extremely clever and intelligent person. Thank you for that gracious comment. What do you do against problems which defy intelligence? I don't mind fuck it. There's some things in life that are unanswerable. I have a scripture tattooed on my arm, Proverbs 3:5. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Now, I was really into a certain religious philosophy, not anymore. But how I take that now in lame English without religion is there's some things in life you're not going to understand. So focus on what you can understand. Get the research, get the data, but don't mind fuck life. Very simple. And keep it simple. When you fuck up, excuse my language, when there's a loss, don't try to overcomplicate it through more theory. Go back to the basics. Basics of faith, basics of finances, basics of life, which is make each day the best you can and progressively move forward to your goals, your dreams, and your desires. If you don't work, your dreams don't work. If you don't go after what you want, it's not going to come. If you wait until you try to figure out everything in life, you're going to mind fuck life. If you read too many books, you're going to grow weary. It's good to read books. It's good to get research. I went through a season of my life in my 20s. I tried to read everything I could, from religion to world politics. And it was good. There's a season for it. But then I said, there's also a season to let some of that stuff go. Because, it's just, there's so much that you can understand in life, and then there's so much that you can't. And you have to balance that. Why? Because you need a balanced, healthy mind. And it's good to just dance in the rain. Dancing in the rain is not really intelligent. And I'm not recommending you dance in the rain if you got Dollar Tree shoes with no grips on the bottom. Because I got a pair of shoes from Cole. I spent $30 on it in New Jersey, and the soles, they're all wear out. I almost bust my ass today walking in the rain. So what I can tell you guys, if you got some cheap ass shoes and the soles are wear out, you better be damn sure careful walking around in some slippy areas. So, but what I'm trying to tell you is, look, some people will say, look, it's not really that intelligent to walk in the rain. I say, look, I'm living my life. So, it's like, how intelligent is it to stay cooped up in the house? And that's way nothing close to like what you asked initially, but I answered what you asked, and then I just got into a tangent. Zero Rush. Thank you also, Zero Rush, for the offer to scripturize my videos, even though I rejected it. And I appreciate you understood what I was saying. You didn't get offended. I thank you for that. Thank you. Zero Rush. What do you think about the homeless, i.e. the real homeless? I've worked with them. I worked in soup kitchens. I had a nonprofit. What I think, most of the homeless have mental problems or drug problems. There is a brand new homeless shelter in Daytona Beach. Not many go there. Why? Because they don't want to go into a job training program. They want to be free to drink and to roam the streets without restrictions. So all you can do is have the programs, have the help. When people are ready, they're there. But there's always going to be a certain percentage of people that just want to live on their terms, even if it's being a drunk, even if it's wandering the streets. There's some people that want help, and if they're willing to seek it, they'll get it. In just about any first world country. So in my real life experience, working with the homeless, living among them, and everything else, that's the bottom line report. So let's take a hydration break. Remember, you can't solve mental problems with money. You can't solve drug problems with money. You can't even really solve it with therapy. To a certain extent, it has to be solved through a willingness. There's a famous basketball player that recently, over the past 2 years, became homeless. He played with LeBron James, Dante West. Mark Cuban from the Shark Tank, he had picked him up on the street because for the past 2 years, he was a multimillionaire. So money wasn't the issue. He had mental problems, and then it morphed into drug problems. And over the course of the past couple of years, he's just been living on the street. He was in LA on Skid Road. Mark Cuban went to pick him up in some alley or whatever. And so he went back to a rehab, and Mark Cuban said, look, we don't know what the future's going to hold. He's taking it one day at a time. So, yeah, once in a while, yeah, you may need someone to pick you up or encourage you, but I could tell you from having people in my family addicted to drugs, I could tell you from working with the homeless, being around people with mental issues, there's only so much you can do. It's true. Zero Rush. You say that the homeless suffer from drugs, some, and some from mental. But don't the higher up spend the most on drugs? What's the deal with that? I don't understand the question, but don't the higher up spend the most on drugs? I don't understand his questions. When I'm talking about drugs, okay, I'm talking about alcohol, I'm talking about cocaine, heroin, abuse of prescription drugs, etc. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't replace blame with blame. Don't replace accountability with corrupt politics. Bottom line is, you, your family member, your friend, they know that they are self-inducing their harm. Maybe they don't have the ability to stop themselves, but you ain't going to help them by trying to blame corporations. Okay? And you're going to go down a road of mind-fucking each other and destroying each other's life. I've been down that road. And what I could tell you is, fuck you and anyone who thinks like that. And I'm not talking about you, if that applies. But that's the mindset. If you want the help, go get it. If you don't, go fuck yourself. Okay. And I don't mean that literally, because guys, but I mean it literally. There's programs out there. But I'm not going to destroy myself. Okay. And you shouldn't destroy yourself by trying to justify bullshit. Okay. And if you want to, hey, go for it. I've been down the road. So I don't need to go to college for this. I don't need to go to a AA meeting for this. I've been down it with people in my family and people in life. So for me, I'm speaking off real life experience. If you got different experience, you could preach on your shit. And I'm not being rough with you, Zero Rush, but if I'm not speaking purely from my heart, and I'm not directing hate towards you, but if I'm not speaking purely to my heart, then I might as well not even be your friend. And I know this may cause you pain, and it may cause you to unsubscribe or unmember, and I respect that. I don't hold anything over your head. Why? Because if I do that, then I'm no different than selling you drugs. If I answer you in a way that doesn't give you what I truly understand as the truth, and again, you have to find your own truth, is that then I'm just selling you a membership. Okay? And guys, look, this is a side hustle. I don't lie about it. I don't bullshit you. But at the same time, I'm not selling bullshit. I'm having fun. I'm being serious. I'm trying to share lessons. But I'm also not taking memberships and saying, let me tap dance for you and let me sell you bullshit. So that's my experience. Do other people have other experience? Maybe. I don't speak as if I'm God. I'm not God. I don't speak as if I have every answer in the book. Okay. I speak as a 40-year-old man who has been through enough things in life with my own family, with my own friends, with my own experience. And that's all it is. And you have to take it for what it's worth and then go on your own journey. And I appreciate you understanding, but I certainly can understand, because I have empathy, that if I was on the other side of that, even though I know what I said was true, I know it's very hard to hear. So I don't, it's very tough for me to balance out being honest, but sugarcoating it down. Because if I water it down too much, it doesn't come across as truth or impactful. But at the same time, I don't want to be hurtful to you on the other side of YouTube, because I've been on the other side. So I've been on both sides. And I know if someone answered me like that, I would be pissed. So, but it's a balance. I mean, I'm trying to at least articulate that I'm not minimalizing your questioning or minimalizing you or trying to be hurtful or talk down to you. But at the same time, this is like who I am. And this is how I express the truth in my life that needs to be expressed. So hopefully you understand, but if you don't, I understand. And I don't want to play games with you. I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to lead you astray. And, I understand life, And this is why I tell you guys, now, depending on how you want to do it, if you want to do YouTube like kind of how I want to do it, let it be your side hustle. Because there's no way you're going to just have that 10-minute exchange and YouTube's your main hustle. In my opinion. It's true. Or like you're not going to go to a therapist and your therapist tell you some shit like that. Why? Because their therapist, that's how they pay their mortgage. Whether your therapist is a government therapist at a rehab center or whatever, they're going to fucking sit down with you after you shop for your therapist for 3 years. Huh. You shop for your therapist longer than you look for a job. Fuck you. But after you finally get your therapist, oh, guys, the therapist got to play the game with you. Why? That's the only way they feed themselves. Okay. Now, some therapists will say, look, enough's enough. Go see someone else. So, look, I'm just trying to save you guys 10 years of your life. But if you say, it's not my style, guys, look, some people like Joe Biden, some people like Donald Trump. Okay. Who am I? I'm probably somewhere in the middle. Okay. I believe in Biden was better at this point. But look, guys, it's like the truth is somewhere in the middle in life. Okay. And love to you. Sabrina, love to you. Do you have your taste buds back yet? Sabrina got the coronavirus. She recovered, thank God. Sabrina, I was thinking about you today. You got your taste buds back? She lost her taste buds. Let's read your comment. The higher up, quote unquote, rich people can afford to do drugs for the most part, recreational. Some of the homeless let the drugs take over their life so much it becomes more important. It's a false statement because I just gave the example of Dante West was a multimillionaire. He had a drug problem. So I do agree with you that wealthier people may have more resources, but that doesn't mean that it may mitigate some of their risk. I'll give you that point, but it doesn't eliminate the problem. And most people are middle class. Everyone wants to say rich, poor. 80% of the country, middle class. Okay. So the very poor people, guys, one is you got Medicare. One is I got family members that have free therapy, free housing, poor. Okay. They make less than $12,000 a year. That's poverty. Okay. And what I can tell you is they got every fucking opportunity and they bullshit their life away. Okay. So what I could tell you is just because you're poor doesn't mean you're a good person. Okay. Just because you're rich doesn't mean you're a good person. Just because you're middle class don't mean you're a good person. It means a digit in your bank account. Okay. Because I've seen it all. So some people that never experienced poverty, whether it's through their own family, whether through their own friends or through their own life, oh God, everyone poor is so sad, or everyone rich is so evil. But it's just an individual thing. Some poor people, great people, hardworking, positive. Some poor people ain't shit. Some rich people, good people, got some good breaks in life and worked hard. Some middle class people, both, all the same. Keep it simple. That's my experience. Sabrina, I still can't taste salt as great as I did before. I hear that. I was thinking about that today. I said, damn, if I couldn't taste a smoothie or coconut shrimp, I'd be pissed. But I understand that. Like I said, when I got sick in my early 30s, I got nerve damage. I went through so much pain, it kept appetite away. And that's what helped me go on a weight loss journey. Now, obviously, I studied research on nutrition, and then eventually I had to eat healthier, work out more, mainly walk. And it was a health issue, a pain, and then a breakup that really spurred me to lose appetite. And it gave me an extra boost. I mean, I was still on that journey, but it gave me the boost I needed. And then I sustained it through healthy habits, a good routine, waking up on time, going to bed on time, being productive throughout the day. Like, guys, whether you're rich or poor, if you woke up late today, if you ain't do shit, and if you're going to be up all night, can no one help you? Why? Because no amount of money in the world can develop your routine. I know, it's like, guys, it's like, it's basics. I tried to mind fuck it for a while in my life, too. But what I can tell you is, it's all it is mind fucking. Don't mind fuck it. Do it. And the only way to do it is to show up, to go through loss, pain, embarrassment, and keep showing up and keep refining and take a step back. If you really get hurt, you have to take a step back. There's times where you got to take a break. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you take a break too long, you ain't taking a break. You quit. You gave up on life. And I understand why. I don't even say that arrogantly and like judgmental. I understand why. But at the same time, I can't fuck with you. Why? Because I can't have that type of mindset in my life. Why? Because then it rubs off on me. If I'm around obese people all day, am I going to be eating healthy? No. If I'm around drug addicts all day, am I going to be healthy? No. You know the people who destroy their life? People who try to save someone else because they don't want to do the work of their own life. It's a distraction. I don't fuck with people like that. 0. Do you ever drink alcohol or do drugs? No, when I was younger, I drank alcohol, and the only drug I did was weed. I never did anything harder than weed. Again, I had family members that did hard drugs, so I saw the effects of that, so that kind of keep me away from it. So alcohol and weed and cigarettes. Cigarettes is probably the most dangerous drug. Those are the 3 things I did. I quit all 3. I haven't had a cigarette probably since my mid-20s. I'm 40 now, so that's 15 years. I haven't smoked weed since, same thing, mid-20s. I don't miss weed. And it just made me dumb, hungry, and paranoid. I know New Jersey legalized it, and if you need it, like maybe versus taking a prescription pill, maybe. But if you're just smoking weed, not working, nah, I think it's destroying your life. This is my opinion, my experience. I smoke weed, so for me, that's how it affected me. So you're killing your brain cells. All weed does is kill you. It's a downer. It suppresses. Some people need to calm down, but nah, I'm not for it. That's my opinion. And alcohol, last time I had alcohol was probably my early 30s. And even when I had alcohol, I was never alcoholic. I was a social drinker. I mean, I got drunk, like I got drunk at like New Year's Eve or stuff like that. But I was never alcoholic. And my early 30s, I was having like sometimes glasses of wine and beer. But then I just said to myself, why am I even doing this? Because every time I would have a glass of wine or beer, it's just like, I felt like the energy zapped out of my mind, out of my soul, out of my body. Beer's a downer. Alcohol's a downer. And for me, as I got more mature, I learned that my energy is valuable. And why would I willingly give up my energy? See, some people can't go to sleep, so they'll smoke weed or have alcohol. But for me, I've learned to put that energy into working out, walking, side hustles, so that at the end of the day, if I don't take naps and I'm productive all day, I go to sleep like this. I'm fucking out. See, some people ain't do shit all day. They got to have 5 glasses of wine, 10 beers. They got to be up all night on live feeds. It's a disaster. And their mental health is fucked up. They're emotional. They're physical. They look like shit. They feel like shit. And I understand it. Because, guys, I've lived a full life, different parts of my life. But that's why I said I can't fuck with people like this no more, because I'm one of these people. You know what I mean? When you're ready to change some shit, you got to go on your own journey. And some people ain't going to understand it. And does it matter? No. Why? Because when you're in the hospital, they can come visit you, but they can't feel your pain. Okay. And when it's like, look, you got to do your shit. It's my experience. Good questions, though. I appreciate these questions. And forgive me again, if I'm answering them rough, but this is how I am. So I don't mean to be hurtful, but you guys know, this is who I am. So good questions, though. These are good questions. Yeah, I remember, too, watching the movie Lucy. Someone let me know in the live if you ever saw the movie Lucy with that beautiful chick. Well, she was hot then. She's not that good looking now. She got older. Who was that good looking girl from the movie Lucy? Damn. Let me see real quick. I'll Google it. She was a very popular actress. Lucy. But I'm going to tell you a story about that movie that was very powerful, changed my life. Very powerful part of that movie. I like that movie. Scarlett Johansson. Yeah, I masturbated to her a couple times. So Scarlett Johansson in this movie, Lucy, I recommend you watch it. Some of you psychopaths that are going to be up all night, might as well rent it on fucking Netflix. You ain't doing shit. So this movie, Lucy, it was a sci-fi, meaning it wasn't based in 100% fact, but it had some real life shit in it. It had some, fact and fiction. But it's about the human brain and how most humans only use 10, 20% capacity of their brain. 80% of your brain is unused, untapped potential. And so, like, she was just a regular girl, like, living overseas, and she got mixed up with the wrong people. How do you go through loss in life? How do you get hooked on drugs? Fucking with the wrong people. Never forget it. So she was fucking with the wrong people, and they gave her drugs to make some money, like to do a drop. And the drugs got caught in her system. You'll see the movie. You'll see what happens. And the drug was a synthetic drug that allowed you to tap the other 80% of the brain that the human doesn't use. And Lucy became like this superhuman computer. Okay. And as she became like more and more aware and her powers of the human mind grew, there's a scene, the most powerful scene in my opinion in the movie, where she's on a flight, she's on an airplane, and she drinks a glass of wine. And when she drinks the wine, her body deteriorates. Because wine is like acid to your capacity, to your brain power, to your intensity, to your energy. Alcohol kills cells. Weed kills cells. You're a living organism. Okay. And to go to the next level of your potential, there's no way you get there by killing yourself. Okay. You get there by nourishing yourself. Okay. And that's a fucking powerful lesson, man. Let's continue to read. Sabrina, you are very direct. I am. And honest. That's a subscriber. I appreciate you as long as you can hang in there to your channel. I appreciate you. Sabrina, I looked it up. You, Jesse, a couple other people. You're my longest members. So thank you, Sabrina. Thank you, Zero Rush. Thank you, Coconuts. Thank you, Gail. Look, guys. Thank you, Cameron. I know you don't have to be members. I appreciate it. Thank you. So she goes, I love that you don't sugarcoat. That takes too much time, and time is money. Well, it's not just about that. And I don't believe in being like direct. I mean, I'm very, I don't want to say politically correct, but I'm very conscious on how the other person feels, right? When in my dealings in public and in a professional manner. In this manner, guys, it's like me and you, we're sitting down and we know each other for life. I'm looking in the mirror. Because guys, we're all avatars on thing, but when I do this live feed, so you know what goes on in my mind. I'm looking at my phone, I see myself. This is my mindset that I'm talking it out. This is the intensity that I talk out in my mind. And it's not meant, I know it could come across, I can't help it. And that's why we just don't vibe. There's some people I just don't vibe with. And some people I don't vibe with. It's not coming across to attack her. But if we have a different mindset, it is going to come across. And it doesn't mean you're wrong, but it means we're not going to vibe too long. And you vibe with some people for a season, some people for longer. But I know I have an intense mindset, but I know I'm a very reserved person. I'm very polite. I'm very respectful in public and professionally. But in my personal space, guys, I didn't get out of obesity by fucking pussyfooting around. I didn't separate from just about every friend I knew, every family member by pussyfooting around. So, look, that's what it takes. Now, do you have to be me? No, you got to be you. So I'm not telling you guys be me, but I'm saying, look, this is me in my personal, intimate space, my mindset. I'll work with anyone as long as, but in my own personal life, I love myself. I talk to myself well. But I push myself in a loving way, in a healthy way. Look, if you guys were my daughters or my sons, I would say, look, I love you. And do whatever you want. And if you did some crazy shit, fine. Now, obviously, at a certain age, you'd be moving out, just like I'd be moving out. I move out, I do what I do. I moved out at 22 or whatever. So, look, we all need our parents' help. But we all, look, certain part of your life, your parents can't come with you. Why? It's the way life is. I didn't create the world. So, look, there's a lot of codependency in the world. There's a lot of apathy in the world. And so, look, I believe in compassion. I believe in empathy. And I believe Joe Biden was the right choice, but I also believe, guys, if you're looking for Joe Biden to change your life, you're out of your fucking mind. Because Joe Biden's a puppet just like Donald Trump was a puppet. Okay. The only difference is he's going to be a little bit more, he's going to be set a better tone, a healthier tone. He's going to hopefully put in a little bit better policies. But guys, I know a lot of people bitching that they want universal health care. I got family members right now on Medicare, on Medicaid. They ain't paying for health care. Their life is still shit. They're getting $1,000 from the government. Their life is shit. So, like, I don't know, like some people, like you're waiting for universal health care and universal basic income. I know people now that are getting it and their life is shit. So don't wait too long for someone to change your life. Why? Because guess what, guys? Only you can change your shit. You know what I mean? So, look, do I want universal health care and universal basic income? Yeah, I think it'd be great. But ultimately, look, I know there's still going to be a percentage of homeless. There's still going to be a percentage of drug addicts, mental problems, and just laziness. Okay. How do you solve that? You can't. Make a more humane society. I'm for it. Make some reform. I'm for it. But I'm just trying to tell you, too, I've seen it. It ain't going to change a lot of shit. It ain't going to change everything. It'll change some. It'll be good. But, all right. I think we spoke on some good stuff. I want to thank you for watching. And that's what it is. I don't want to stretch it out. Love to you, appreciation. Keep pushing forward. Do what you need to do for yourself, and keep it healthy.